Throughout history, man has attempted to protect important crucial information in secret code. Military plans, scientific discoveries, inventions. Yet however complex the cipher, eventually it's been cracked. That is, all but one. A code that even today still defies the minds of some of the greatest logicians as well as the most advanced computers. Its level of complexity and sophistication is such that many experts doubt its authenticity. This documentary will attempt to unveil a secret jealously guarded for more than 600 years. We're in London in the year 2010. During the excavation of a new building at 33 New Cotton Street, the foundation of a Tudor house is discovered. All digging is immediately halted and a team of London's archaeologists are summoned. The initial survey shows the ruin in a very bad state of repair. They conclude that the original structure was most likely destroyed during the Great Fire that ravaged London in 1666. The site is mapped, catalogued, photographed, but little did the archaeologists know of the surprising discovery that lay in store for them. As they prepare to leave, hidden under the rubble of the ruins of a mysterious trapdoor is accidentally uncovered. What was an ordinary survey, in fact, becomes one of the most amazing discoveries of the 21st century.
They called me one morning. It was raining. I thought it would be a quick thing, a routine check. But actually, it wasn't. I mean, we started to dig and we just found out of your everyday objects, nothing important, until we found this sacred chamber. And I totally felt like, when Carter found Tutankhamun's tomb, the place had been locked down for centuries, and I was the first one to get into what was this underground secret chamber. Alchemical laboratory, an incredible discovery, because the first one to be found intact with loads of material. We had to work really fast because the place was really shaky, but we managed to save everything. And so what started out as a routine work actually became something unique, and thanks to that, I am now one of the most famous archaeologists in the world.
The fragile artifacts found are brought to the Royal Museum of the History of Science. Here, the first examination begins. The significance of the find is immediately understood. It goes far beyond the archaeologist's wildest imagination. After centuries of being hidden away, an obscure manuscript, along with a pack of tarot cards, both written in a mysterious, unknown alphabet, are brought to light. The academic world is shaken as stories about the find leak out. The tarot cards may be the most ancient ever found. Even more shocking and utterly inexplicable is the fact that the tarot pack is complete and perfectly preserved despite the card's fragility. What puzzles the experts even more is the mysterious correlation that links them to the manuscript. The figures and writings on the card seem to derive straight from the pages of the tome. Are these the first tarots ever created upon which all tarots are based?
Tarot first appeared in Milan probably around 1440. There may have been experiments before that with a shorter number of cards and then more cards added later to fill out the 22 triumphs or trump cards, which were added to an already existing playing card deck in order to play games that had a trump suit. And I think that now there are new discoveries that are coming up that are bringing a fulfillment of new possibilities for tarot, including the rediscovery of some ancient connections between the tarot allegories and images and other esoteric areas like alchemy and the Kabbalah, which has been attached since the end of the 19th century. They've discovered a new deck that suggests that there was some connection earlier than the history that I know about, but we don't know whether this deck that I hear has alchemical symbolism was really the first deck or not. So I'm very excited to find out more about this. It could write a whole new chapter in the history of tarot.
If this hypothesis turns out to be true, it would solve the centuries-old mystery of the origin of the tarot cards. It would be an incredibly important discovery, an intriguing hypothesis that only lacks a proof, and this proof may lay well hidden inside the manuscript, which unfortunately is written in an indecipherable code. The tome consists of pages full of odd symbols and strange drawings, all of unknown meaning and origin. Alchemic fires burn, transmuting substances into their opposites. From bubbling alembics, smoke dragons appear and evaporate among esoteric formulae and magic seals. Chemical permutations and obscure experiments lead the reader from microcosms to macrocosms. The orbital phases of an unknown moon, the motion of distant celestial bodies, star maps where monstrous creatures swim trapped in a cosmic aquarium. Strange devices and inventions, large powerful pachyderms hauling observatory towers, an ampulla-shaped bath escape, strange flying vessels floating amongst the clouds like hot air balloons. What do these illustrations really indicate? Are they only imaginative games of pure fantasy, or blueprints made by the Alchemist in attempts to conceive these amazing inventions? These ideas, being far advanced for their time, makes this an almost unsustainable hypothesis. Looking through the chapters, we discover page after page of even more curious designs. A city that grows like a flower, watered by an old man wearing a giant turban. A mermaid sitting inside a water-filled jar, puffing on a pipe, from which bubbles come out that slowly become books. Magnificent cities with crenellated towers and majestic domes seem to be suspended between dream and legend. Strange inhabitants dressed in the finest damask sketched with complicated and extravagant motifs, beards trimmed in every shape and odd hats. Do these puzzling images have some cultural reference? Are they possibly depicting real places? Some scholars suggest that they might be related to some ancient culture of which all traces have been lost. Some even believe the Alchemist is attempting to describe the lost mythical civilization of Atlantis. In the final chapters of the manuscript, scientists see the images begin to intertwine with the mysterious alphabet. They discover that this intermingling gives shape to a pack of tarot cards, the same pack found with the manuscript, and tarot spreads whose meaning is totally unknown to us. Finally, we have proof of the correlation that binds the manuscript to the tarot card. The tarot cards, like the manuscript, also contain strange, unexplainable shapes, script, astrological type symbols.
This is unbelievable! An amazing discovery! I cannot believe it's true. I have never seen such exquisite work. Art and science totally fused in incredible, complex, and beautiful alchemical world. Every term, every page of the manuscript is a universe of symbols to discover. It attempts to capture the spirit, the essence. Every card encloses within its secret point of view and interpretation of the world. Maybe the truth itself. It is a secret with which to play around, to manipulate, to conceal. The truth has to be protected. It is a dangerous knowledge and has to be kept secret.
Could the manuscript be hiding some coded knowledge to be kept secret or protected at any cost? Could the tarots be the key to unlocking the secrets of the cosmos? However, there are those skeptics who would argue that none of the work found is authentic. They think that both the manuscript and the tarot pack to be incredibly well done forgeries, maybe created during the 1800s to cheat some incompetent art collector.
The technique of this work is really outstanding. We didn't find any trace of erasures or corrections. The book was written and painted with precise stroke. It showed very high confidence. Probably took a lot of years to complete. Not even a single correction, not a single note was written somewhere, which is really impossible. The manuscript is too perfect, making us think that it might be a forgery.
Quando ancora il mondo galleggiava sulle onde della leggenda, come un turacciolo, in una landa nascosta da boschi, in bilico su colline traballanti, si ergeva solitaria una torre. fra lambicchi e vetri vecchi, esperimenti botanici e pianeti meccanici, una nuova scienza faceva le prime bolle nelle ampolle. Prigioniero di corrosi tomi polverosi, un alchimista interrogava il cosmo per svelarne i misteri. Alla fine scogitò un gioco nuovo per sfidare la natura e vincere i segreti barando. Ma il destino dispettoso ci mise il becco e l'imbroglione fu imbrogliato. La realtà si frantumò in mille schegge, le carte presero vita, creature di ogni sorta spezzarono le catene d'inchiostro che le trattenevano, libere fuggirono ovunque. Ed iniziarono a raccontare le loro storie. E meraviglia, quale portento è mai questo? Fra le carte la mia torre si compone. Dunque, una storia fra le storie sono io?
This incredible find raises even more questions, each leading to many more unresolved mysteries. Meanwhile, in London, in the laboratory of the Royal Museum of the History of Science, the first methodical analysis begins. The experts begin looking for clues that can help place the findings in an historical context. Above all, who created them and when? The focus of the researchers is primarily on the preservation of the Alchemist manuscript. Its frail pages are cleared of centuries of dust. They are carefully immersed in a chemical bath to make them more resistant to handling prior to any further analysis without any risk of damage.
We decided to scan the tome with ultraviolet light, and finally, the first page, something appeared. A written line. It's a feeble trace of ink into the square formed by a Latin sentence. A quotation from the Metamorphoses by Ovidius. Roughly translated like, he gave human beings an upturned aspect, commanding them to look towards the skies and upright, raise their voices and faces to the stars. It's a very peculiar choice. It expresses the spirit of research, defining what it means to be a human being. We can clearly see some letters. There are 3 lines, a name, Johannes Athanasius Prometheicus, a Latin title about divination, and under it, with minute letters, melting the black of the unknown into the red of passion. It's a very powerful motto.
This analysis of the alchemist's works reveals its beautifully intricate complexity and begins captivating and mesmerizing scholars, archaeologists, and researchers worldwide into wild debate. What are the symbolic structure and references trying to tell us? What coded secret is the alchemist trying to protect, and from whom?
The sentence discovered in the manuscript. Melting the black of the unknown into the red of passion is revelatory. Light, shadow, good, evil find their symbolisms in the colors red and black. The inks that are used by the alchemist, they are the tarot created to reflect the contrast of opposites. They depict a universe that was born from war, from conflicting worlds and forces. What mystery are they hiding?
Another pressing issue regards the identity of the author and creator of the manuscript and tarots. Who is the alchemist? The author gives us only one clue. What appears to be an allegoric self-portrait, a man holding a parchment pointing towards a bright star. What is the relationship between him and the star? What does the parchment contain? The alchemist, Johannes Athanasius Prometheicus, is clearly a pseudonym in reference to the tragic myth of the Titan Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to give to mankind. Is it a mere coincidence that he intentionally chose this name? What did he attempt to give mankind? Is the answer hidden in the pages of his manuscript? Throughout Europe, historians excitedly examine national archives. Is it possible that a man of such genius is unknown to history? A beehive of activity ensues. Searching for the merest traces of the life and deeds of the alchemist becomes a race for academic firsts and prestige.
The Alchemist manuscript is one of the most mysterious books pertaining to secret knowledge ever found. An enigma that, to our knowledge, no one has ever read or comprehended. Even more amazing and mysterious, there seems to be no recorded trace of it in known history. No single reference, no quote, no one mention of the book, nor its author. For us, it is highly impossible that a book so peculiar can disappear from history like that. To begin to answer this mystery, we decided to search for clues in Prague, at the library of the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II. During the Alchemist's time, Rudolf was known to be one of the most important collectors of alchemistic works and occult items. Here we discovered a letter written by the Emperor himself to a famous English astronomer and occultist, a Mr. John Dee. The letter, though in a bad state of preservation, is legible and authentic without any doubt. In it, the Emperor writes of having met a famous alchemist, a man of wisdom who was on the brink of an important discovery. Rudolf offered him money and a safe place to stay. He recounts to Dee of having seen a manuscript several times and goes on to describe it and sketch it in detail. He calls this manuscript the Book of Shadows. Why? Because any attempt at reading it causes the images to animate like shadows flickering in candlelight. Many legends and very fantastic tales surround the Book of Shadows. It was said to be a magical and powerful book of alchemy. Some even say that it was created by the devil himself. In one of the many sketches made by Rudolf, we see a graphic representation of an elephant carrying the world, a reference to an ancient Indian myth. A drawing we know very well because we have seen it in the manuscript discovered in London. We can say with certainty that what the Emperor was describing is indeed the Alchemist manuscript. Finally, we have here very strong historical evidence of its existence. This is such a great discovery.
The academic world is in confrontation with conflicting theories and opinions. Scholars fight and denounce each other, each trying to prevail in their theories and hypotheses. Attacks are getting bitchier.
Wenn wir uns das Manuskript dieses doch etwas mysteriösen Alchemisten anschauen, und zwar ganz genau anschauen, dann lassen sich bestimmte Schlüsse ziehen. Es gibt da so etwas wie einen Ursprung, wo dieses Buch entstanden ist. Und dieser Ursprung ist nicht so ganz obskur. Es fällt zum Beispiel auf, dass die Städte und Paläste, die auf diesen Seiten gezeichnet sind, dass da Minarette zu sehen sind, Zwiebelkuppeln, orientalische Bögen und auch die Menschen. Ja, sie tragen Turbane, lange Kaftane, Säbel. Also für mich ist sehr klar, dass dieser Alchemist aus einem muslimischen Land kam, dass er möglicherweise selbst Muslim war. Kann gut sein, dass er aus Andalusien kam, dem islamischen Teil Spaniens. Er muss dort nicht sein ganzes Leben gelebt haben. Er ist offensichtlich jemand, der viel gereist ist, durch ganz Europa gereist ist. Das Manuskript enthält auch da sehr deutliche Spuren. Zum Beispiel gibt es ein englisches Schiff, es gibt ein deutsches Motto, mein Feld ist die Welt. Und es gibt mehrere Zitate von Ovid. Das alles weist darauf hin, dass wir es mit einem sehr gebildeten Mann zu tun haben. Eine Art Genie, das seiner Zeit weit voraus war und der sehr viel geforscht hat, der Erfindungen gemacht hat. Vielleicht war er auch kein Mohammedaner, sondern ein Jude, wir wissen es nicht, aber sein enormes Wissen hat ihm Dinge erlaubt, die andere Menschen damals nicht tun konnten. Und er ist vermutlich von Hof zu Hof gereist, er hat dort gelebt, wurde wegen seines Wissens geschätzt, war deswegen gefragt. Also wahrscheinlich hat er das Kalifat von Granada vor dessen Fall 1492 verlassen und hat in anderen Ländern und Städten gelebt. Es gibt Spuren, die auf Holland hinweisen. Vielleicht war er auch in Prag, am kaiserlichen Hof dort. Und ganz sicher war er in England, wo er Desmond getroffen hat, einen berühmten Entdecker der elisabethanischen Ära.
There are areas of my research that I've kept a secret, that I haven't shared with anyone. Having traveled to the ancient libraries of Timbuktu, of Ethiopia, there are things that I've seen that have shocked me. Areas of alignment, of alchemy, of understanding, of philosophy, that just don't seem to make sense. It seems to suggest in ancient times that there was some kind of strategic alliance across the continent, across many continents, an understanding of how the stars work, of how alchemy works, of how philosophy works. This is something that no one yet has uncovered.
Who was this man? I mean, he was a powerful alchemist. We have his manuscripts, we have his tarot cards, but we don't know the man. Where was he born? Who were his parents? Nothing. All is a mystery. His identity is filled with clues, but no real information. All we know is what we speculate. The man is a mystery.
The manuscript allows for so many interpretations. You can think of any theory and you will find evidence of it in its pages. The manuscript is like a hall of mirrors reflecting the viewer's own imagination.
From the study of the manuscript and the historical researches, little clear data has emerged. We know for certain that at some point in his life, the alchemist lived in London. He was active as an astronomer and alchemist at the court of Queen Elizabeth I. We discover that he became acquainted with R. Adeston, at the time a well-known explorer of Nordic origin, whose documented adventures became legendary. Thanks to the manuscript, we know that it was the alchemist who coined German R's motto, Mein Feld ist die Welt, my field is the world. It is a saying that is said to bring good luck. R had it carved on the bow of his galleon, the famous La Palisse. In 1554, he set sail from London towards the New World. This historical figure is well known to us and is supported by documentation from the Elizabethan era. Thanks to the recent discovery of his ship's logs, we have a detailed account of his incredible voyages. R's logs, account of the lands he explored, are rich and beautifully illustrated. They depict in great detail the exotic flora and fauna he found. Still today, after more than 500 years, the descriptions are of an almost scientific accuracy and still have the power to leave us amazed.
Quale inganno è mai questo? Magia? Alchimia? Pura stregoneria? Danzano le immagini, non più semplici linee di un disegno. Sono vive! In una città fattasi gabbia, poiché tutto era conosciuto, un capitano sognava di incagliare la prua sulla linea di un orizzonte ignoto. E l'avventura gonfiò le vele verso mondi senza nome. Canta l'acqua nella sentina, balla il vento sulla bolina. Se la terra è tonda, troveremo un'altra sponda. Se la terra è piatta, la nave avremo sfatta. Sotto l'inchiostro del mare la chiglia si squassa. Sopra un mare d'inchiostro la vela si strappa. Rulla la botte, rolla il tamburo. Se la terra è tonda troveremo un'altra sponda. Se la terra è piatta la nave avremo sfatta. Il mondo non si specchia nei segni di una mappa, è la mappa che disegna il mondo. E allora, Nostromo, schizza un'isola e poi andiamola a cercare. Sulla linea di un sogno si impiglia la chiglia e l'orizzonte non può più fuggire. Il nostro sogno si avvera, l'isola inventata è stata trovata. Creature crepitanti luce, esseri ignoti da nominare, tutta una terra da esplorare. Questa è la storia della chiglia nella bottiglia, che galleggia nella poesia dell'altrui fantasia. La vita è un sogno.
From what we can see from the drawings contained in the manuscript, there is a tarot spread in the shape of Ars Gallion. However, the reason or significance is still unclear. Every day the debate becomes more and more heated. The time has come for a deeper analysis of the Alchemist's works. Finally, in 2011, there's a turning point. To shed some light on the matter, the Royal Museum of the History of Science authorizes the taking of some paper and pigment samples from both the manuscript and the tarots. This delicate task is given to the Nissan-shi Laboratory of Analysis and Research. Located in Tottori, Japan, it is one of the world's most advanced scientific research facilities.
はい、234研究所の酒井真理子です。何ヶ月もタロットと原稿について調査をしてきましたが、ついに結果が出ました。まず我々はタロットと原稿に使われている紙の成分、炭素ですけれども調べて、それがどの年代のものかっていうのを、調査しました。だいたい1543年から1583年の間ということです。紙は大変質の良いもので保存状態も良かったようです。次に錬金術師の研究自体ですけれども、それが、その年代と一致するかということを調べました。紙の上のインクについて調査したのですが、分光分析と結晶学的分析等を行い、その顔料について、調べたのですが、だいたいインクが16世紀によく行われていた方法で作られていたことが分かりました。乾燥させた昆虫の殻からできているんです。よって、この発見された原稿とタロットというのはかなりの確率でオリジナルのものだと言えるでしょう。なのでこれは大発見だと言えますね。
The findings are proven without any doubt as authentic. The implications are dramatic and challenge all that we know about Renaissance philosophy and science. The tarot cards may be the oldest ever found. They may be the first ever created. This is a sensational discovery. Yet all secrets regarding their true meaning and the process of their making are still buried deep within the lines of the script and strange symbols containing within the manuscript. The next urgent task is that of deciphering the code. The Royal Museum of the History of Science gives this complicated undertaking to a team of selected minds, the most brilliant in their fields, linguists, logicians, and military cipher experts. The team is headed by the distinguished Dr. Hurundi V. Baxi, a well-respected mathematician, winner of the prestigious 2001 Fields Medal for his leading research in the theory of tangled strings and glued chaotic sets.
We were very happy when the museum asked us to work with them, because we have worked with MI5 and other government agencies, and well, we thought this is an easy ride. We took the code, we put it in our computer, and we thought that's it. We are absolutely stunned and surprised by the result that we obtained with this research. What we have here, we have one code, and we have 100 keys to solve this code. And therefore, we have 100 interpretations. Let me give you an example. We can take one simple sequence of symbols, and we can interpret this sequence in many ways. We can say Cleopatra was killed by a snake, or we can say Churchill was the Prime Minister, or Napoleon lost the war in Waterloo. And all of these interpretations are sound. This is impossible. This is a Renaissance code, and it's so complex, so mysterious. How could you possibly achieve something like this? Therefore, I can honestly say we will never break the code. We will never be able to succeed. And I'm afraid this is a defeat for science.
This result is unexpectedly disappointing. The scientific community surrenders itself to the idea of never being able to decipher the book. Public enthusiasm wanes and turns to disappointment. Just when the world was losing interest in what was supposed to have been the discovery of the century, Ebenezer Everard Prescott, Professor of Western Esotericism and Philosophy at the prestigious Balthasar Al-Farabi Centre for Anthropological Studies in Oxford, announces that he has broken the code. The year is 2012. Everyone is skeptical yet thrilled at the prospect. His approach is groundbreaking and innovative. Given the failure of the traditional logic systems used in attempts to break the code, Professor Prescott decided to devise a newer, more ingenious interpretation system, archetypical logic, too technical to explain at length here. However, what we are able to understand from his complicated theory is that it revolves around the idea that the symbols in the manuscript are not referring to any word of language. Instead, they are direct expressions of cerebral language, in simple terms, what he calls mind language. This innate mental structure forms the basis of all human language. It is primordial and ancestrally rich in imagery, symbolism, and emotion. The linguistic correspondent of the Jungian psychological archetypes.
Oh well, let me just read you some notes I received from from Professor Prescott. So, what he sent me was this one. The manuscript traces the research trip that led the Alchemist to discover the mind language, which is the primitive language, or, using Professor Prescott's words, the language of every language. Chemistry, mechanics, astronomy, all science can express themselves in this universal language, where everything can find its place. And you'll see that page after page, the book will lead you to tarot cards, to the 22 major arcana. Each arcane is a major complex structure of this language, a universe of meaning represented by a total fusion of images and symbols. But the amazing thing is that through the tarot card combination and according to the Alchemist geometric findings, you can talk to Mother Nature, discover the universe secrets, and also make questions. It's a unique discovery, something really unbelievable, nothing that happened before. So, we work very hard to decipher the Alchemist's work, but finally, Professor Ebenezer and myself unveiled the mystery. It's a big step for humanity, and for the first time we can reach a higher level of knowledge. You see this? Well, I'm sure not everyone can understand it, but this is the truth. Our logic system is sound.
E ora chi ascoltare? Mischio le carte, confondo le storie. In quale mondo entrare? Vuole un'altra storia emergere dall'oscurità, liberarsi dal tratto che la trattiene. Una melodia echeggia fra ciri e nembi densi di pioggia. È un allarme! È la guerra! Due città sono arroccate ai lati opposti di un mondo a scacchiera, divise da armati di armigeri schierati a battaglia. Strateghi escogitarono strategie per annientare il nemico. Opposti monsoni di frecce oscurarono il cielo e i pedoni furono scacciati dalla scacchiera. Eroi condottieri si sfidarono fieri. Spade e scudi splendenti, cotte di maglie forgiate, lance salde in resta, celate sul viso calate. La carica furiosa al galoppo, il cozzo violento allo schianto dell'armi, e le teste furono mozzate, e gli scudi spezzati, e le selle divelte. Quando gli armigeri furono fuori gioco, esseri possenti, addestrati a distruggere, fecero tremare la terra. e spare a zanna, mordi e rodi, rosicchia e disossa. Attacca e bombarda, esplode, divampa, detona e conflagra. La scacchiera del mondo fu un deserto. E le due città dai palazzi senza radici mossero le loro mura a battaglia. Cupole furono staccate, torri furono divelte. Una guerra iniziata millenni prima finì in una sconfitta senza vincitori. In quella desolazione una piccola pianta sopravvisse. La vita sarebbe ripresa, la natura avrebbe iniziato una nuova partita con pedine e pedoni diversi. Ma questo non era il destino del mondo a scacchiera, eternamente diviso in opposte fazioni.
The archetypical logic theory divides the academic world between those supporters who believe it's discovery of the century and of those detractors who deny any validity whatsoever, accusing Professor Prescott of having made up a system that is neither scientific nor reliable.
Vediamo. Io sento parlare di linguaggio della mente e verità mistiche. Il professor Prescott ha scritto un bel libro di favole, utilizzando alcune intuizioni, peraltro abbastanza banali. È ovvio che il libro è una specie di quaderno degli appunti sulla ricerca della pietra filosofale, ovvero la chiave di lettura del cosmo, l'accesso alla verità ultima. Le miniature fantastiche, i mostri, i marchi ingegni sono il frutto tipico di una mente rinascimentale, affascinante per comprendere il pensiero di un'epoca di grandi cambiamenti. Però non sappiamo che cosa il manoscritto voglia dire. Non è stato decifrato, almeno non in modo scientifico, e probabilmente, aggiungo, non lo sarà mai. Purtroppo l'opera ha deciso di non svelarci i suoi misteri. Io trovo molto più interessante che l'alchimista abbia creato delle serie di tarocchi ricostruendo con le carte delle costellazioni tra le più importanti, e come aver posto l'uomo in un contesto più ampio ne ha relativizzato la posizione, ma soprattutto ha cercato le risposte alle grandi domande, le domande di sempre, andando oltre l'orizzonte del nostro conosciuto. Non esistono poteri magici, non esistono forze arcane. I tarocchi sono immagini archetipali, sono immagini dell'inconscio collettivo umano. Non nascondono nessuna verità. Ultima, non ci sono segreti da proteggere e tantomeno sono il lavoro del diavolo. Mi dicono che il Medioevo sia passato da un pezzo. La fonte dell'interesse dei tarocchi è la rappresentazione in una forma universale delle paure, dei sogni e delle incertezze dell'essere umani. Questa, e soltanto questa, è la loro magia. È la capacità di comunicare in modo immediato dei concetti e delle emozioni che ci appartengono in una forma grafica che ha sfidato i secoli, che ha sfidato il tempo per giungere immutata fino a noi.
Meanwhile, as the fame of the alchemist and his works grow far beyond the work of academia, a new development occurs, bringing into play a whole new set of characters. A secret society, believed to be extinct for more than 300 years, rears its head on the stage with outlandish and alarming claims.
Magni nominis umbra fundabatur, van Hering in 1636 erat autem filius Phoque et Berenike van Hering, qui divites facti sunt ab negociaribus apud Amsterdam, qui studiosem essent esotericisme et alchimia. Apud 1557 Alchimius Phoque Berenike hospitio erat et auxilium experimentis facebunt et in studiis scientiae pervestigatione purus, et fingit se praesedii esse inventa secretum codice, codex scirent quod clavis. Alchimiis ignorantem uti libro herenge ut lucrentur opes et potentia et de nece eius. Alchimius autem cognito hoc concludit aliquid vehemens, qui ut omnia vestigia opus officinam incenderit, abit in nocte et tenens eum codicem alchimius valem. Cum igitur in generationibus van Herings omnenque umbriam laverit mundus, quia hec sanctissima objectorum. Hoc certe est inventio tarot, magis quam cultrum divinationum princeps, gradus lineae, industria, ista apta vie in spatio et tempore. Recte dicetu potest esse principium maiestatis, quod quia inventiae utemur modis omnibus facultatibus, quas habemus utamur, est ut recipere quod nos, umbra in circuitum, nostri fluxisse campester imperioque negotiis et rebus o economicis, quod opus sit ipsi, clavis habemus. De hoc autem transierunt Herings clavis munus imponendo primum editus atque tarot manuscripto, prescot codice non fregere, et sciendum quos scimus nos absentis pusel frustra, et orbis et nova scientiam habemus.
Alchemist mysteries fascinate more and more with each day, captivating the attention worldwide. Television, newspapers, and the web give rise to a media storm of planetary proportions. They call it occult mania. The profits from sales of books on alchemy and tarot card packs go through the roof worldwide. Occult mania spreads even to the halls of the Royal Museum of the History of Science. Patrons flock to get a glimpse of the famed tarots and manuscript. The museum is overwhelmed by requests of publishing houses, academics, researchers, commercial enterprises, occult sects, religious institutions. Some consider these objects to be powerfully charged with great spiritual energy. A supporter of this idea is Madame Euphémie Hortense Werfking, director of Hermétisme Ésotérique magazine. Considered as a leading expert in the occult, she refers to herself as a medium and spiritualist. She's been repudiated by the scientific community for her esoteric experiments and resulting finds and statements.
Das Divania, mon ami. Bienvenue, moi, maison, in Paris. Oh là là. Mon Dieu. Nous avons récupéré incroyable. Les tarots, les premières cartes, les plus importantes pour pouvoir l'exprimer. L'énergie ésotérique est pure et poissante à un niveau inimaginable. La capacité de porter divination sur l'espace, le temps, est quelque chose d'imprévu, fascinant. La mort, danger. Un grand danger, c'est trouver l'hérité ésotérique, plus de pratiquer le diable. Pour enchanter cartes son poitin.
Could the Alchemist tarot be so dangerous and powerful? While some are skeptics and unbelievers, others are absolutely convinced. The Roman Catholic Church's reaction is peremptory and resolute. It stands violently against the alchemist's works. Priests are ordered to denounce the satanic influence of the cards from the pulpit in the name of the Holy Trinity. The Vatican, in an attempt to undermine the historical importance of the alchemist, condemns the find as a sin against God and the Virgin Mary, an abomination. An encyclical letter, Demonis non apparatur nisi per artem, extra ecclesia nulla salus, is drafted stating that the fine should be given immediately to the Church in order to protect mankind from whatever diabolical secrets may lay within.
Hubiera sido mejor si se hubiera perdido todo. El alquimista que se hace llamar Prometheicus. Prometheus es otro truco del diablo, el cual engaña al hombre haciéndose llamar Lucifer, el portador de la luz que solo trae destrucción. El alquimista es algo negativo. Es un error intentar buscar los secretos de la obra del Señor. Querer ver más allá de lo que se nos permite es una pena. Llegaron también los primeros tarots. Nadie sabe lo que se esconde en sus signos. ¿Quién sabe qué con qué fines se crearon? Deberían ser expertos. Llamó al contest. No comment. No comment.
Rifletti e pondera, medita e pensa. Volevi ingannare la natura e sei stato ingannato. Che ne farai di una realtà frantumata in 1000 mondi? Là, dove la Via Lattea diventa la panna delle nebulose, si inzuppava un mondo alieno. È la città delle macchine, il meccanismo perfetto che ticchetta con isocrono tempismo. Un giorno Sua Altezza, Gran Macchinario, accese il fusibile di un'idea. Applicare la sua logica perfezione ad un altro mondo. Automi, droidi e replicanti si affollarono sulle banchine con valigie, borsoni, portmanteau e cappelliere all'imbarco, pronti per partire. maestosi transgalattici salparono per civilizzare il cosmo incivile. E l'universo fu squassato al ritmico martellare dei pistoni dei piroscafi. La modernità veloce marciava verso il futuro. I fotoni fosforeggiarono, neutroni divennero neuroni e dalla materia oscura una città emerse. La notizia fece il giro del diodo. Il cosmo tutto è perfettibile! Sua Altezza Gran Macchinario elettrizzò un'altra idea folgorante: ricalcolare tutto senza eccezione, seguendo la regola aurea della perfezione. E così ogni pianeta fu una rotella nell'algoritmo dell'orologio universale. Ma nell'equazione della perfezione si inserì una variabile incalcolabile. La pendola cosmica si inceppò e i mondi tornarono a battere il proprio ritmo. E qualcuno ancora c'è che vorrebbe che tutto seguisse quel tempo ormai scassato. Ma per fortuna i calcoli non calcolano più.
Alchemy, the original goal of the alchemists was to, as everybody knows, was to find the philosopher's stone, the thing which in some way could change the basic constitution of a substance, so it ceased to be itself and became what you wanted it to be, of course, which would be gold. And that this exhibited a complete misunderstanding of what substances are, as we now know, but nevertheless it is not a misunderstanding of what human beings want. It is a very good science of human desire, which is, as it were, imposing that on material reality in order that the world should, as it were, reflect our desires and satisfy them. And I think this is a permanent feature of the human condition, that we, as it were, remake reality according to the structure of our own feelings and our own wants, our own ambitions for ourselves. And therefore we misperceive reality. Alchemy is a permanent temptation, a temptation to describe the world as pliable to our wishes, waiting to shape itself according to our own needs and ambitions, rather than being the infinite unmovable obstacle that we can never really control.
Still, there is no containing the frenzy of occult mania. The Royal Museum of the History of Science organizes a global tour exhibiting and presenting the manuscript and the full pack of tarot cards for the first time to the general public. Destinations include London, Paris, Berlin, Rome, Prague, New York.
C'est une exhibition vraiment intéressante, unique. Venez la voir.
È una mostra veramente incredibile, mai visto dei tarocchi così affascinanti.
Oh, it is really incredible exhibition. I have never seen something like that. It is really magical.
È una mostra fantastica, i primi tarocchi, veramente li ho visti, bellissima.
Era una roba bomba, proprio bomba.
Ah, das war echt wunderschön.
Con milioni di particolari. Non smetteresti mai di guardare questi tarocchi.
Insomma, la scoperta del secolo. Bellissimo, bellissimo.
The exhibition is a success. It is one thing to hear about or see photos, and another thing to actually see. Visitors are amazed by the beauty of the Alchemist manuscript illustrations and the artistic rendering of the tarot pack. We discover a world filled with marvelous creatures, fantastic maps, and unknown scripture. One could sense the presence of something far greater and profound emanating from them. Maybe this is the greatest and real power of the tarot, to lead us in a parallel world at a time when magic was a force of nature to be tamed and the world was a blank spot on a map waiting to be traced.
I dubbi si spengono lentamente nella tua pipa. La realtà è un'illusione, un mosaico di 1000 mondi che danzano davanti ai tuoi occhi. Ed ora le figure tornano ad essere semplici linee d'inchiostro, immobili e mute. Ma un pensiero mai pensato prende forma. Formule da riformulare, far cerchiare il quadrato che non vuole più quadrare, triangolare, contare, e poi fondere, forgiare, martellare, temprare per giorni e notti d'incandescente lavoro, e alla fine il mondo tremò al rombo ritmico del tuo ingegno. Uno sbuffo di fumo ed una scintilla, un battito di membranosi mantici e la tua fantasia vola via. Nel teatro delle ombre in cui viviamo non voglio essere solo più personaggio, attore di altrui storie, vaudeville, grand guignol, melodramma o pochade. Essere autore, libero di creare me stesso, come il cielo vasto, sempre in movimento, mai definibile. Brillare della stessa luce che accende le stelle. È ora di gettare la maschera, Lo spettacolo è finito! Tutti gli attori hanno recitato la loro parte. Avete assistito allo svolgersi della storia. Eppure qualcosa agita i vostri pensieri, Siete confusi, non sapete più e non siete così più sicuri di sapere dove sia la linea che divide il vero dal falso, Cercate un segno, un indizio che vi porti alla verità. La bramate, se ne avete bisogno per puntellare il vostro piccolo mondo, ma la verità non è una moneta ben coniata chiusa nel suo scrigno, no. La verità è sparsa come la pioggia sulla terra, è divisa come un'ultima ricchezza. Il libro delle ombre è stato ritrovato. Il nostro momento è giunto. Io sono il signore di Umbra. Sono il lupo delle fiabe. Vengo a divorare le vostre false certezze. Dove c'è il vostro ordine rigido, io porto il caos delle possibilità. Dove c'è la luce rassicurante del vostro sapere, io porto le tenebre della notte, con i suoi misteri e fantasmi. Io sono il seme della distruzione e germoglierò nella libertà che non conosce limiti. Ingoierò il vostro mondo per costruirne infiniti altri dove ognuno sarà ciò che vorrà.